from Isleta. We're here for the title match in the scratch division. Two bowlers who've never won a scratch division title. That doesn't happen very often on our tour. Top seed Brandon Armijo has looked like a top seed so far. He's opened with spare 3 in a row, shooting now in the 5th frame, looking for 4. And can't quite trip that 10 pin on the messenger hit there. Good shape going up against Chris Ortega, who has climbed the ladder to this point, winning 3 consecutive matches, including a 300 game, by far the high game of the day, in a win over his brother. The asterisk to all this is that we're playing endless 10th, which means that if the bowler can strike on their last ball of the game, whether it's 3 in a row in the 10th or spare strike in the 10th, they get to continue going as long as they continue striking. So someone can swipe victory from the jaws of defeat. In the whole history of endless 10th frame, we've done it a lot. Only one bowler has lost the title match by being endless 10th. It happened in New Mexico. Can you name the bowler that got endless 10th? Nope. Another big time champ. Here's Armijo, spare working in the 6th. Oh man, sort of a half 10 in the last frame, then a ringing 10 there, where the 6 just accelerates over the top of the 10. 2 good shots, quite a few years ago. The bowler who got endless 10th was Cameron Smith, who 35-time, 3rd time all-time in titles. Cameron Smith. Cameron was not happy. It was not against a regular. It was the kid's only scratch title. And he bowled great all day. He still has one of the coolest names to ever win a JBT scratch title. Literally coolest name. His name was Jack Frost, his real name. And he ousted Cameron Smith in an endless 10th. It's the only time it's happened. Ortega trails right now by 32 pins, but he's got a chance to cut it to 22 with the strike here in the 6th. You see that very vertical approach. And part of the struggle is on the left-hand lane is the fact that you've got a wall directly to your left. It's tough to see it there, but it's the exact same thing as one of these. It's a metal grate, and it makes even a strike ball difficult for the big hook players on the left-hand lane, but it makes right-side spares even trickier because you know your right-hand foot is going to at least graze the grate, if not crash plumb into it. All day long you hear as people hit the grates. Only one person hit it in anger today. Everybody else hit it by accident. I don't know who that person might have been that hit it in anger after only one bad shot. But,
I think you left.
We'll research that and get back to you.
Sadly, my brother.
Boy, 3 out of 4 10 pins. Perhaps indicative of why the scores weren't that high today. Only minus 69 to make the cut in the scratch division on about a 4-to-1 pattern. So bowlers struggled a little bit in the scratch today. Made that 300 by Chris even more impressive. That was way the high game of the day. Much easier to shoot a 10 pin on the right-hand lane, and he covers it up. Back in the day, all the ball returns used to come all the way back behind the lanes too. So, you know, if you're an old enough bowler, you're totally used to having your back foot crash into something because you'd hit the ball return every single time. None of these guys grew up with probably any houses. The last house that had overgrounds here was probably Bosque, and that's been gone for ages. Brandon, a very compact down and in game. Not that huge power game, but very effective today. Well, he's just been riding that shem right around the 10 board all day long today, but 3 10 pins have been the result this time. But fortunately for him, before that was 3 in a row. Just kept him in the lead in this match. Steady player, fills a lot of frames, but still looking for that first title of any type. Chris has 1 handicap title. Brandon still a non-champ with us. He would love to change that in the next 10 minutes. You hear him just kick the gate a little bit. When you kick the gate, it's after you've released the ball, but it's still a mental challenge to not worry about it being there. And most players are standing a little further right than they'd prefer to on those left-hand lane cross lanes. Put out a pretty oily pattern in the middle today, so if this was bone dry and these big crankers like to stand on 50, you just literally couldn't do it because the gate starts at about the 46 board or so. Spare working in the 8th for Brandon. Wow. There's got to be, even Brandon said well on that one, there's got to be some pretty severe carry down going on here. We bowled on Tower Pizza, which has a lot of volume in the middle and very long in the middle, 47 feet in the middle. It doesn't look like many bowlers have migrated that far left anyway. Brandon not a high rev rate player, and it looks like he just hit some puddle all the way down the lane to 510. William Yoder almost 5.710 today. A little too far left with a little not enough rotation can leave it. Brandon more than capable of making this though. That's got a chance. Beautiful, yes. Outstanding conversion from Brandon in the 8th, maintains his lead. He's about as calm making that spare as he is doing everything else. So Ortega trails by 32, spare working, but again, no lead is completely safe and no deficit is completely hopeless. That said, you don't want to fall behind by an exorbitant amount. Yeah, and he is going to fall way further behind here. When Chris played his brother in round 2, Angel could have struck out for 202, and that would have been the back 5 for 202, and then he would have needed 10 more from there to catch up to Chris. So 15 in a row is not easy for anybody to do on any pattern at any time. So point being, you don't want to fall too far behind. And with that open, the complexion of this match has changed from a possible to a uh-oh. So now he trails by 44. Has to get something going here in the 9th and 10th. Well, that's what he's been doing this whole step ladder. He has had wins over Ben Stedman in round 1, Angel like we talked about in round 2, and then Blaine Hurst with another 3rd place finish in the semifinals. Brandon from Santa Fe, but bowls and goes to school out of West Texas, or Texas Tech, beg your pardon, Texas Tech in Lubbock. And golden chance to cash in on title number 1 here. Holds that follow through perfectly. That time finally gets the pins to react. Says it's about time. That's his first strike on camera. So even though he's got himself a comfortable lead, the idea is to pour it on here in the 10th. Make it as absolutely difficult as possible. Showing once again, you don't have to have that massive power game to compete. This is very high level stuff in Scratch Division JBTs. And bowling is still a combination of power and accuracy. If you have both, you're impossible to beat. And one without the other, and you're vulnerable to a steady player like Armijo coming up and taking it down. Wow, geez. He has thrown nothing but great shots ever since we started the camera rolling, and all he has to show for it is 1 strike since the 5th frame. 10 pin, 10 pin, 10 pin, 5-7, and another half 10 here. If somehow he finds a way to lose this match, you'll be wondering, shouldn't have made a little bit more of a move. Didn't look like he moved much at all, which is certainly forgivable. Woo! Didn't want to miss that. He figured, hey, I'm hitting the pocket, I'm not going to move a lot, and sooner or later get some water at the well, but didn't happen. He almost missed the spare, which would have had him potentially only be up by less than a mark if Ortega strikes out, and that's a big if. As long as he gets 7 or more here, it's the same thing as a strike, because that'll keep the count high enough. 7's as good as 10 in this spot. Watch out for a bucket or a super short count here. Don't want to do that and make it 1 mark easier for Chris. Ooh, double dribble. Gets away with it though for 10 in the pit. That's a strong 215 right there. That could have been way more than that. So Chris doesn't have to strike on this ball, but if he does, he'll have to strike on the next 2 in order to get a chance to take it away. All right. So the good news is he hasn't lost. The bad news, he's made it 2 endless 10th strikes harder by not catching the double there. The best he can do is 171. That would require him to get the next 5 strikes after that to get to 221, which would throw the ball back in Jaramillo's court because he did get the endless 10th himself with that strike on the throw ball. None of this matters unless he goes spare strike here in the next 2 shots. Gets the spare. We know he can strike on this spare. He got 12 in a row of them last time. Angel just said, pretend you're bowling me. That would be nice. He might need most of them. Must strike to stay alive, and he does not strike to stay alive. That is one of the worst times for a solid 8. If anything, it had a long road to go beyond that, but that is a catastrophic way to finish out right there. He doesn't get the endless 10th, and Brandon Armijo is a scratch division JBT champion. Well deserved from Armijo. He was the top seed going in, led most of those rounds, bowled an excellent game. I'm sure it's amazing. No matter how much you lead by, you're totally relieved when you don't have to deal with any more from that. Big sip of water and a JBT championship plaque coming that young man's way. We'll do it all over again tomorrow from Isleta. Fun stuff today.